Good morning, everyone. Michael Edwards here, Northern Affinity. I know for a lot of people at the moment, sales is a real tricky subject area, and many are really unsure on how to handle it and how to deal with it, and in a most sensitive way, and kind of what strategy to take. So I'm delighted to say today I'm here with Pete Evans, who can hopefully help us all with this. So before we go on and ask a bit about that, Pete, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and tell us a bit about what you do and that type of thing?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everybody who's listening live, and good morning, Michael, and thanks for inviting along to this LinkedIn Live to discuss the hot topic of selling in a crisis. I'm the managing director of a business called Ventas. We work with businesses that are typically frustrated about the amount of sales growth they're experiencing. That topic has become more relevant with the impact of the coronavirus on our ability to meet face to face. We're also a partner of a company in New Zealand called SalesStar, and we're about to enter into a joint venture with that company. And we work with a wide range of businesses that are selling business to business in the UK and Europe. If there's anybody on the call this morning that's selling business to consumers, some of the things I'm going to talk about will also apply to them. So looking forward to your questions, Michael.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pete. So I guess obviously we all know we're in very unprecedented times at the moment. What are the real challenges do you see for businesses when it comes to selling in this current environment?
Well, I think like everybody, Michael, everybody has had to learn to sell screen to screen. So the world of how we sell, particularly business to business, has just been flipped on its head in the last 5 or 6 weeks. So businesses we were talking to previously, existing clients where salespeople were saying to us, "Oh, we can't sell screen to screen." And now in lockdown, working from home, it's more challenging to deal with people because we're all working from home. We've got children, we've got connectivity issues. I think the real challenge is learning how to use the technology to sell. I think the second challenge that we're all seeing, and we're going to continue to experience this maybe for another 12 to 24 months, is that the decision-making process is going to get longer.
Yeah.
It's good in the future. Organizations are undoubtedly going to make people redundant, so the people you're selling to will be under more pressure, time pressure. So you'll have to learn how to sell better. You'll have to create value much earlier on in the sales process. And you'll also have to review how you position yourself with people. I think the days of just dropping in and having a coffee and a cozy chat and it all being about the relationship are going to go. I think you're going to have to position yourself a lot differently. So I think there's going to be all sorts of issues that are going to come. And if what you're selling is seen as a discretionary spend, then you're going to have to fight harder for people's budgets as well. So I think this is a real opportunity to reposition yourself. I think the other factor we are seeing, Michael, is that a lot of businesses are positioning themselves for survival. Yeah. And I think when you position yourself for survival, it doesn't send out a strong message to your clients that you're actually open to business.
Of course. Yeah, no, it's. I think it's understandable. A lot of people at the moment, there's that natural worry of what's going on and the uncertainty of the unknown. So, what do you think the steps the businesses can take? So, if you are in this situation at the moment, you're worried about what's going to happen in the future and how you're going to change. What steps do you think they can take from a sales point of view, or whether it's a process point of view or whatever it may be, to come out of this just stronger?
Well, one of the things that we did straight away, Michael, was to reach out to all our existing clients and to review their sales strategy and what we were doing with that client. And what we've been doing over the past few weeks is making sure that we have much more regular contact with our existing clients.
Yeah.
Making sure that they're still strong, reaching out to them, asking them questions about, where their concerns are in the business. So I think the first thing that you can do, if you've not done it already, is reach out to each of your clients that you're working with and review what you have been doing and how you can strengthen that relationship with them.
course.
And I think that's a key point. I think the second thing that you need to do is to review your positioning. So you know how you position yourself with that client, and link back to the first question. And one of the challenges that people will face is you're going to be dealing with people who are busy. So you're going to have to cut through the noise and create the value right at the start of your sales process with your clients. Because we're all, you know, it's more difficult when you are in lockdown and you're in front of a screen, but you're going to have to get used to a different way of selling to your customers and creating that value. I also think the other thing that you really need to invest in is time learning how to sell screen to screen, because I think when we come out of lockdown, and Michael, we've talked about this before, we won't be going back to the old normal. So I think a lot of the face-to-face meetings that people have had in their sales process will disappear.
Yeah.
So use this as an opportunity to get proficient with using the technology. You know, and even things like how do you dress when you're on a call. You know, what's the sort of the background and the messages that you're giving, and also look at the services that you're offering and the products you're offering to your clients, and can you pivot some of your offerings? Who can you collaborate with? Who can leverage you in there? But I think this is a real time to look at your sales process and your messaging.
Absolutely. So yeah, obviously we've got a few people watching in various things, and we've already had a couple of comments. We've had one from Phil saying totally agree about existing clients and the importance on that. So thank you for that, Phil. If anybody does have any questions as you're watching, you know, do feel free to put in the comments, and I'll post them to Pete. So you kind of touched on it there, the change in the process, and obviously we've all kind of had to get used to video a lot more for a lot of things in the last few weeks. Do you think that's going to be a real big key for people who succeed in whatever the new norm is in a few weeks and months' time? Do you think that will be the key for it? Is how they use things like video as part of their processes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something we've been used to in our business for the past 2 or 3 years, and we've certainly been encouraging our clients to do more, certainly in the discovery phase of a sales process, and now in terms of actually presenting to clients. So I think getting comfortable with this technology and how you use it is going to be a key part of how you sell. I think the other thing which people should really do, and I know that it's ironic that we're on a LinkedIn Live interview, Michael, but you know, the biggest opportunity to sell and connect with people and nurture relationships is on LinkedIn. You know, one of our key recommendations to clients we're working with is to get their sales teams to be more proactive on LinkedIn. Yeah. Use it to connect with people, nurture relationships, reach out to prospects, and be proactive. And I think no longer can any business owner or salesperson or sales manager use the excuse, I haven't got time. No. The other recommendation I would make, if you want to get proficient using technology and to change things, is to practice with your peers. Okay. Practice using the technology with your peers. Practice doing discovery meetings with people as well. So if you haven't got a coach, or you're part of a networking group, pick on somebody else and practice with them how you would do a discovery meeting online, because it is a different skill.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, another message from Karen. Yeah, exactly. She's agreeing with you, which is great. And it's all about what kind of message we wanted to send when we run the Zoom calls. So that's great. Thank you, Karen. Okay. The other question I was going to ask you, you kind of touched on it really, is about the focus right now. So, you know, for every business is different, and we know that. But, you know, generically speaking, what should people's focus be when it comes to their sales right now, right at this moment?
Well, I think one of the key factors is look at the deals which are in your pipeline. And, you know, some people listening will have a very complex CRM or sales enablement system to allow them to track deals that are in the pipeline. To the other end, some people will be using a simple spreadsheet on Excel to track deals. The key thing to focus on are deals that are winnable, the winnable deals. those are the deals that have got the most chance of going ahead and converting into cash for you in the next few weeks. And my second tip is qualify any deal that's in your pipeline that you really have no realistic chance of winning. This is an opportunity to get a reality check on what's really in your pipeline, and that is going to help you focus your efforts. Yeah. And one thing that we've been doing in our business in the last 3 to 4 weeks is squeezing the pipeline and taking out of the pipeline deals that we don't think are winnable anymore in the current climate. That has allowed us to really focus in on getting new opportunities into the pipeline and closing the deals which are closable.
Oh, that makes sense. So a really interesting comment from Angela there about that. Feels that actually quite often there's a much better personal connection on Zoom and video. So maybe there's chances for better relationships to at least be started.
Yeah. So I think that's a great point, Michael. That Angela's raised is that you can have a much better connection on video than on Zoom than you can on the telephone, because you can see somebody, you can see the body language, whether they're smiling, how they're interacting with you, and also just picking up on that point, learn how to share your screen as well. Share presentations, and even things like there are some hints and tips on the type of background that you can have, so you can have a background with your company logo. And I know we've not been able to do that on this call, Michael, but learn all these tips, and there's some great advice around as well.
Oh, interesting. So we've had another question before I move on to one of my own. Is from Tessa. So do you have any particular tips for selling on screen to screen when you're on there?
Yeah, great question, Tessa. I think one of the big tips is practice and preparation. So if you're going to a face-to-face meeting with somebody, you would be prepared. You would have an agenda. If it was a really important meeting, you would practice it or role play with somebody else. So make sure that you're prepared. Make sure your connectivity is good as well. Find somewhere quiet. That might be difficult for some of us, where you're not going to be interrupted. If you are working from home at the moment and you're in lockdown and you've got your family in the house, I think at the start of the call, make sure that you tell the person that you're speaking to that you are at home, and that they might see children coming in to interrupt you. I think most people are more forgiving than they've ever been. So hopefully, Tessa, that answers your question.
Oh, that's great, Pete. And I'm going to move on to a question which I know is close to your heart, Pete. Discounting. So obviously at the moment, people are understandably very worried about how hard it is to get new business in, and yeah, so a lot of people are. There's probably a lot of it going on at the moment. People are discounting their services. I know your thoughts, but if you could let me know your thoughts on this, both as a short-term strategy, but obviously just as importantly, kind of as a medium-term and long-term strategy as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a subject that's very close to my heart, and I know that from conversations we've had, that I personally don't believe in discounting. I think the moment you say to somebody, so let's say, for example, I come to sell to you, and I say, well, actually, Michael, it's going to cost you £10,000. You need to invest £10,000. You say, well, can you give me a discount? I know a lot of the people at the moment would probably say, yeah, I'll tell you what, Michael, I can do it for £7,000. I think there's several things going on when you discount. The first thing is that if I can deliver my service for £7,000 rather than £10,000, that's going to be in your head constantly as the buyer. And when you come to buy from me again and say, well, actually, I gave you a discount, you're probably going to be thinking, well, you did it for £7,000 last time, so why can't you do it again? So I think the moment you start discounting, you're actually giving away your value, and you're setting the frame for the future relationship with that customer or that client. I think the thing you can do rather than discounting is give your client more value and build in value. And if the client, for example, is struggling with their budget, and I know that we're getting a lot of queries from clients saying, look, our clients are looking for us to discount. Look at ways that you can actually come up with a payment plan with them.
Yeah, so be creative, basically.
Create it. Or another thing you can do if somebody's looking for a discount, rather than giving everything away, and this comes down to negotiation, it's got to be an exchange of value. As an example, we had a client recently who asked for a discount, and I actually asked the question, so why are you asking for us a discount now? We've been working for 6 months. And he said, well, we're actually struggling with cash flow. So what we came to agreement was we've come up with a payment plan, but I've also asked him, because we've done that, who else he could refer us into in his network that meets our client criteria. So use it as an opportunity to have a different conversation. Don't give everything away. And if people are constantly asking you for discounts and you see it as a way of getting cash into your business, go back to looking at your positioning statement and what your value proposition is. I think that's really crucial, is don't undersell your value. It's easy to discount in challenging times, but actually you might be getting cash in, but you might be selling your services and products at a loss.
Absolutely. Another question, as you know, I spend a lot of time working and speaking to people who run small businesses, and quite often they, as well as running the business, they are also the front end, the salesperson who's doing the meetings. And one experience I know for a lot of people I speak to, that either they struggle with confidence to sell, or they don't really know where to start with it. I mean, have you got any kind of a few hints and tips for people in that position who've maybe never sold before? They are brilliant at what they do, whatever that may be, but they struggle with the wholesale side of things.
Yeah, that's a great point you've made and a great question, Michael. I think a lot of people who go to set up in business have a great product or service. And one thing that I've experienced over the years with people like that is they'll say to me, but I didn't go into business and set up business because I had to sell. And I hate selling. You often hear people say, oh, he or she is a natural born salesperson. I actually think sales and being successful at what you're selling is about following a process, having a clear process, having steps which you follow in that sales process. But I think also ultimately it boils down to having the right mindset. And it's interesting you talked about discounting, for example. So one of the things that we do when we work with individuals and companies is that we actually evaluate what somebody's proficiency is in 21 sales competencies using the tools of Objective Management Group. And one of those competencies, Michael, that we're able to evaluate is called the need for approval, or the need to be liked. So a lot of people who go and set up in business and they're selling need to be liked. And if you need to be liked when you're selling, it will actually get in the way of you being able to sell to people and challenge your customers or prospects. So I think a lot of it is down to having a process which you follow and having the mindset to consistently follow that process. And we all carry limiting beliefs as well. So, for example, if you're selling a service that's £5,000 and you believe £5,000 is a lot of money, and I'm selling to you, what may happen is I'm more likely to discount because I feel uncomfortable saying to you, you really need to invest £5,000.
Yeah. No, I understand. I think you're right. And I mean, the one thing I always say to people, and I don't know if you've agreed with this, is that actually you've got an advantage when you're running your own business and selling, because you believe in what you do and you've got a passion for it. You might not have what you believe the skills or anything like, or the processes, but having the passion and having the knowledge and having the belief in your product or service is actually a big part of selling, and can really, really help you. If you enhance that and funnel that, you've got a great chance of success in the selling environment.
Definitely. And I think if I can finish with one final tip, there is a lot of doom and gloom out there at the moment. And I think that when you're presenting to people or having these meetings on Zoom or any of the other channels like Microsoft Teams, for example, have a meeting with passion and enthusiasm. you've got to project your enthusiasm. The other thing is be a beacon for your clients and your prospects. People are looking for positivity in your approach. There's too many negative people around. I actually think that having a crisis is a great opportunity for businesses to come out stronger, to thrive if they've got the right mindset for actually selling. And I think that's a key thing.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Thanks for that, Pete. And then just finally, before we finish, obviously, firstly, thank you for today. I'm sure the people watching have got plenty of value out of this. If anyone does want to speak to you or find out a bit more about you and your company, where's the best places to connect?
Well, a really great place to start, as I mentioned before, is LinkedIn. So if people want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or if you want to contact me via email, my email address is pete@ventas-sales.com. So if you want to reach out and have a chat with me, then I'm more than happy to have a chat, or reach out on LinkedIn if you've got any questions. And thanks very much, Michael, for your time this morning. Really enjoyed it. And speak to you soon.
Thank you very much, Pete. Have a good day, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.